So, welcome back to another episode of Living the Sky Life. I am doing another episode under my sibling series that you guys have asked for and everyone is excited about. My guest today is Natalie Cray. That is how you say your last name, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Natalie Cray. And I met Natalie and her family actually at Skylar's Autism Center, the other location where he started. And I got to meet Natalie and her mom and her brother. And so they live here in town close to me. And it's been a glowing friendship with her mom ever since. I love this family. So I was really honored when Natalie said that she wanted to be on the podcast to talk all things siblings. So again, welcome. And can you start by telling the listeners a little bit about yourself, like what grade you're in and what sports or theater or things that you're interested in?
Of course. I'm in the 8th grade. I do a lot of musical theater. I like to do the plays at my school. I'm currently in Beauty and the Beast right now.
Oh, that's cool.
Mhm.
Are there any sports that you play, or did you used to play sports? I can't remember.
I used to play sports a long
Hmm.
time ago. I don't anymore. I mostly focus on theater.
Yeah, and that takes up a lot of time, I'm sure.
It really is.
Now, remind me how old your brother Quinn is.
He's 11.
He's 11. Okay, that's right. I knew he was younger than you. I just couldn't remember how much younger. So, obviously, you're the older sister, and Quinn is your only sibling. So, can you talk a little bit about what your relationship with Quinn has been like from, when he entered the family as a little baby and a toddler, and like, were you able to play together? And what does it look like now?
Well, whenever he was younger, and like I was just observing this like as a little kid, and I just figured this like that it was just, oh, he's a toddler right now, or he's a baby, like this is, a normal thing. It's like this is probably how I acted as a kid. It'll probably kind of eventually, he'll probably become a lot more calmer as he like gets older, and all that. I would try to like engage with him. It would be kind of hard, and that would kind of get me frustrated with him. And now it's mostly like we have a I'm able to engage with him now. I
Hmm.
just have, it's I mean, and I still have to like say things over and over again sometimes. But now he's gotten to the point where he's able to like immediately start to like listen and all that, which yeah.
Has his communication evolved? Did he not used to be able to communicate verbally much, or has he always pretty much been able to talk back with you?
I mean, I'm trying to remember because he's able to talk like he's able
He
to
probably
like
talks a lot now.
oh yes, he talks a lot now. He whatever is on his mind, he communicates. Um, but I mean, and I'm trying to think because I remember he wasn't as like talkative whenever he was younger, and I feel
Hmm.
like now it's kind of he's kind of I don't know how to word it.
Is he like making up for lost time? Has he, I mean, he has an opinion about everything.
Oh yeah, like he has his opinion. If he doesn't want to do something, he'll let you know. If he wants to do something, he'll make sure you know.
I just wonder if, since Skylar's never spoken, in your relationship with Quinn, I just wonder if he relied on you a little bit too. Like if you guys had your own communication language between the two of you as siblings, and if he wanted something or didn't want something, if you were able to tell your parents like, "Hey, what this is what he wants to do, or this is what he wants to eat, or whatever it is." Did you guys have any of that little sibling connection going on?
Um, mm, I mean, like so he now goes to my school.
Hmm.
We're both he's in 6th grade, I'm in 8th grade. So I'm able to see him sometimes. And so sometimes if I see him in the morning, like sometimes if things are loud, if he's like kind of covering his ears or something like that, I'm able to communicate and be like, "Hey, it's okay, buddy. Like go back to your classroom. It's pretty
Oh, I love that you guys are there together.
fun." I don't know
Oh,
if
I you don't think he does?
I don't know if he does much.
Is he mainstreamed into all the same classes that you had back when you were in 6th grade, or is he partly in there and partly in his own? room?
Well, so from what I've heard, he's in the like special needs area they have there, and then sometimes he'll be like going to a regular math class or something like that. Because I've heard like different teachers' names before. I just I don't think like when it comes to like science and social studies, I don't know if he like goes to the same classes like every like all the other kids, but I know that
Hmm.
math and I think ELA he like goes to the same classes. It's like
That's
all the
cool. Do you guys talk about school? Are you able, since you go to the same school, are you able to just talk about things going on at school with each other?
kind of. So at our school we have like teams, so it's like two different teams, and he's on the opposite team that I was on. So I'm not able to really bond with him teacher wise because I didn't know any of those teachers. I didn't have any of those teachers.
Gotcha.
I have been able to like talk to my friends, like ask my friends some of these questions, be like, hey, like my brother says, oh, like, blah blah blah. Like, what was your relationship with this teacher? And they're like, oh, I had this relationship with this teacher. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm kind of
Mm.
able to get that idea mentally of like what, yeah, what it's like for him at school.
Do you know if does he have friends at school, or are there people that you kind of have keeping an eye out for him since you're not on the same team?
Um, my friend Parker, he um he's known Quinn for about, I think he met him because he does the shows with me. He met Quinn, I think at our first show in sixth grade,
Mm-hmm.
and ever since then, like if he sees him in the hallway, he'll say hi, and
Aw.
Quinn loves him. Like he'll be like, "That's Parker. I know Parker." Friends wise, I don't know. I know he has a couple of friends that I know of at his school. I don't get to like hear about that a lot sometimes because usually it's he's got his headphones on his he's on his iPad. Uh, but like the other day, for instance, I saw him in the hallway and I like was in a classroom and I was talking to my friend and I said, "Hey, I can't see him from here. Could you just make sure that he's like okay?" Because I was like wondering if like he had like wandered off or something, and she was like, "Oh, he looks fine," and I was like, "Okay, thank you."
Mm, you're such a good sister. I love that. My kids were never able to be in school together, so I never really knew what that was like for a lot of families that have kids at the same school. So what is a typical, I guess like more of a weekend since you're probably busy with rehearsals and things and you're not as home as often, but what does a typical weekend look like in your house for your family? Are you guys all engaged together, or does your parents have to divide and conquer and like do stuff with Quinn and then the other does stuff with you, or what does that look like?
Um, well, actually, I do get rehearsals on the weekend. I do have a sometimes
Probably.
on the weekend I do have a rehearsal on Saturday sometimes, but usually like on a regular basis, a weekend it depends on what we're doing, like what's on the agenda for us to do. But I would say that like there can be times where I feel like, oh, like they're keeping an eye on Quinn a little bit more. And they know that I'm not gonna like do anything or like go somewhere like where I'm like not supposed to. So like I'm able to to kind of just be there and they're comfortable with that. They're like, like good.
We trust you. You're trustworthy.
We
Can
trust
you
you.
guys go as a family to places? Does Quinn like going to restaurants, or just to movies, or can you go as a family to things, or does he kind of have his limit with social settings and noise and all of that?
Well, he loves trains. If something
Yes.
doesn't have to, oh yes, like he loves trains. There's trains everywhere in our house. But if it, I feel like it particularly like if it's something to do with a train or like something like in his interests, he'll want to do it more.
Right.
Whenever it's like if we're going to see a movie that I know that he's probably not going to want to go see, he's probably not that interested, and he'll probably be like, I don't want to go see this. I don't want to do this. And like with restaurants, he's pretty. He's like I mean, it depends on food, but if it's like he's able to get a burger or chicken tenders, he's fine. He's good.
Yeah. His main staple. I guess your parents probably pick restaurants based on the menu options so that they know he can eat something, right? That's what we do.
Most of the time, yes, but then sometimes we get to like do stuff that I know that he'll sometimes be like, "Oh, I don't want this." But
But at
yeah,
least hopefully he's a good sport and he just, will at least go and not make it miserable for you guys. He'll just kind of deal, right?
yeah.
Well, that's good, at least. So can one of the things I get asked all the time, is if my daughter, if she, now that she's in college and she's older, if she has kind of said to me and talked to me about what it was like growing up in this house, with her brother. And we know that you guys have to make a lot of sacrifices sometimes. We can't go to places when we want to because it's just not a good day for your brother or Kendall's brother. So if you could just kind of describe, and it doesn't have to be bad, but just like what your experience has been growing up with a sibling and your only sibling not being able to be exactly like the rest of his peers and have a relationship with you that's similar to a lot of your friends probably and their brothers and sisters.
Well, growing up, like if I would like watch TV and I would see like the typical sibling life, I always like how I said I thought Quinn would like kind of age out of like because I just felt like, oh, typical toddler acting like this. And then whenever I felt like once we found out like he had autism, I think a lot of that like it took me a while to kind of understand what it was. And then like my parents kind of explained to me a lot of it because I remember like he would go if he would like go to a doctor's office. I feel like he like I don't know, I just felt like it was going to be like typical, like little like little oh, like he's 2 years old. So, like that's kind of normal right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then after kind of like discovering that, a lot of things changed because it he went on a gluten-free diet and we all went on it like in the house whole
Mm-hmm.
and like a lot of it was disgusting. I remember like every night at dinner time me just like not wanting to eat dinner because
Mm-hmm.
it was just different and I had never had this before and it was just weird to me. And like I just thought, like why do I have to do this?
Yep.
Why do I have to do this? And like I would kind of remember he would like as he would kind of age, he would just like kind of start to like sometimes he would like cover his ears at places and I just like I didn't understand it. Like if we were
Mm-hmm.
just like in a grocery store or something, I would just be wondering like why is he covering his ears? And like now that I think about it, it just makes me kind of wonder what how like he hears that kind of stuff and all
Mm-hmm.
that. How is all that processed and all that? Like how does all that go through his mind? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you could have that conversation, just, like short questions or whatever with Quinn and say, what when you cover your ears or wear your headphones, what do you hear if you don't? Like, is it really, really loud or just to see if he can kind of explain to you what he's feeling or do you think he would do that or have you done that with him?
I've never personally asked him that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want to one day, but I just don't know how it would go. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if he would like understand what I'm trying.
I think the reason I ask the question is just because you're so much like my daughter and she never ever complains. Even now, she never complained about her brother, but she spent a lot of time in her room by herself. She likes to read. It was just easier for her to escape if he was having a meltdown or if he was, just if we had to feed, we always have to feed him. And if we're doing things with him and our normal routine things, she would just go to her room, stay in her room until he went to bed. And then she'd come out and then we'd have family dinner, the three of us, and we'd watch TV together and do our things. She just found it easier to just be removed and not be in the midst of all of it because he pulled her hair too when she was little. And he just would kind of, she wasn't off limits. We all got smacked or had our hair pulled or whatever. And I hope she doesn't resent him. So I always just want to know if you guys can even articulate that. In eighth grade, you might not be able to explain really how you feel, but just what it feels like to not have a sibling that you can, relate to, or that you guys can just, I don't know, like I keep saying, like traditional sibling relationships and tease each other and play and like, just, I don't know, that kind of thing. I just wondered if you ever wish that you had that. It's nothing against your brother. I just would love to know your true feelings, and if it makes you sad or anything.
It makes me sad to think that, there's like things that like I just, because it brings me back to like the question, what like how does he interpret all these things like differently than us? And it just makes me think, like, what if this is like, like this is like torturing him or something like that? And
Yeah,
it breaks my heart to think about it,
sure.
because it's like, and at our school, especially, our school can get kind of like rowdy, and he has headphones and he'll like wear his headphones. So I think now it seems a lot more, he's getting used to it, because he went to an elementary school where after that, all the kids, all of his friends that he had known for years went to the opposite school. So he like this
Oh,
year,
okay.
and I had and that was a part that's like something I had to deal with too, because I had moved to that same school and I had already lost a lot of friends, because like it was just a better decision for me. Like, and me and my mom and my dad decided like to just like change it up. And since
Mm-hmm.
Quinn was going to like that other school, they decided to just move me over there. But it was for just half of my fifth grade year, and I was so happy. And then I found out none of them would like come to the same school as me, so I kind of had to start over again.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's something he had to do too. So that's something that I feel like can be a bit of a typical sibling thing, like, oh, you had to go through this. Well, this is what I went through, and this is how I dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference with it is it's just harder to like just sit down with him and talk about it
Right.
without him, yeah, like
Yeah.
without him like not wanting to listen or anything like that. And at school, like sometimes if people see him, I have to like sometimes I'll go up to him and like give him a hug and be like, "Hi, buddy," and I'll see people looking at me and like, 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 what is this? Like, and at first they like are thinking like they don't like get in their mind that I'm a sister, and then sometimes I have to be like, oh yeah, like that's my brother.
Aw, I love that you acknowledge him at school. So that's sweet. I know you're
He
his
doesn't acknowledge
protector.
me. He doesn't acknowledge me at
He
school. Come
probably is more embarrassed by you. Like, seriously, you're
on.
ruining my
Well,
flow here. You're embarrassing me. Stop. What is one of the things you love most about Quinn? I mean, I love his smile. I've told your mom that from the day I met that kid. He is the cutest. He has the best infectious smile, and he's so sweet. What do you love about him and appreciate about him?
uh, his confidence, definitely, because he's able, like, if there's a baby that is cute, he thinks is cute, he's able to walk up to those parents, like just random strangers, and say, "I think your baby's cute. I love that baby." And it freaks the parents out, and it freaks me out, and I'm like, "Oh, buddy, oh my god, like
I
you,
love it.
you
He speaks
can't."
his mind.
And like, if there's something he does not like, he's like, "I don't like that. No."
Aw.
And like sometimes if he's like talking to me and he's like, "Oh, say this." I'm like, "No, I don't want to say this." And he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "I just don't want to. I don't want to say that." And he's like, "But you do." And I'm like, "No, I don't." "Oh." Well, he said, "Yes, you do." And I'm like, "No, I don't."
Sometimes they don't have a filter, so that can be good and bad.
It really can, but honestly, at the end of the day, it just leaves me like with a smile on my face, thinking, he has the confidence. He will not give up until all of that is like perfect for him. All that is good for him. He will not give up.
Aw. I think a lot of that comes from your family, just having a family that's supportive. I'm sure he feels it. And you guys are all so close to each other that I'm sure his confidence developed because of that too, just because of how much you guys all take care of each other. So, kind of on that note, I know that your parents are amazing people. Is there anything that you would want your mom and dad to know about their parenting of you and your brother and just, how amazing they are? Because I already think they are, but like in your own words, like what have they done well? Because I think that's the other thing that parents like your mom and dad and me, like we worry because we just don't want our daughters in this case to feel slighted in any way because of how much attention sometimes Quinn and Skylar take from us. And so we just don't want to let you down. And so is there anything that you would love for your parents to know about how you feel about them and the job they're doing?
Well, I think a lot of it, it's they do an amazing job. They really do. And like whenever I was little, like I've said, like I didn't understand it, and I just thought that because Quinn was the little one, like because when he was born, like he was the baby, and a lot of that attention got like swept to him, and a lot
Hmm.
of that was like taken from me. And like I would think of it and be like, did I do something wrong? And then, but like once I kind of realized that they're trying their hardest to help him, and then like be with me, it it really makes me appreciate them a lot more because every parent like e- every parent has to go through a lot of things, but with them especially, it really like makes me think like, wow, y'all are able to like keep your cool, like you're able to like calm, like hang out with Quinn, like calm him down sometimes, and then you're able to just like hear about like my day if my day's been horrible, and like you can just hear me rant all day about it. And you guys are there for me, and like you're making dinner, and you're like doing all this, and I mean I it really makes me think that like if one day I have a child like Quinn, I will know that I have a lot of I know that I can just go to my parents, and they'll have a lot of information and a lot of like different like tips and stuff like to help me, and they'll be there to
Hmm.
help. And it just it makes me very, very grateful for the amazing family I have.
Aw. Well, and I'm sure that whether you know it now or you figure it out and learn it later, you've probably learned so many tools to be a parent one day also, because the amount of maturity and empathy and strength, resilience, all of those things that you are gathering as an autism sibling and in a family like yours, you're going to use that someday when you're a mom, whether your child has special needs or not. Those are all skills that you are going to have, and you're going to probably look back and go, gosh, what would my mom or dad have done? And you're going to be more equipped, I think, to be a mom
Yeah.
with that experience, don't you think?
And it really, because of me being able to like learn like of autism from such a young age, it makes me feel a lot more like aware, because he's in Special Olympics, and so like when we go, I'm able to kind of like I know what's going on, and I know like what to do, what not to do. And Quinn is a very smart, amazing kid, and even though I'm not able to like understand what's going on in his mind, or like
Hmm.
what's going on around him, I know that he's he's able to like be so confident and to be so happy, and like is just always he's very like determined with certain things. Like he has a train set in his room that he has like wrapped around his room, and so anytime I can just open the door, and he's like, watch out, because it's like right by the door, watch out, Do not step on that. Whoa, 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 whoa. Lower your foot.
It's his prized possession, I guess.
Oh, yes. It is, really is. Like, that all of his trains, he loves every single one of them. If mom even touches one or discusses getting rid of any of them, no, they're mine.
Oh, well, everyone has to have their thing, their hobby or their whatever. Is there a favorite subject that you have in school or that Quinn has? You said he likes math a lot or is strong in math. Is there something that you really love about school too, or nah?
Well, I personally really like we have a theater class and I really like theater. With him, I really don't know his favorite subject. Right now, I feel like and for him being on the spectrum, I think he's pretty good at math because I
Hmm.
look back at this and I'm like, wow, like I was really struggling with this. And like, and now he's dealing with it. And, and my parents still have to help him out. Yeah, but I also needed help. And so it's like, you're doing, he does really well, I think. And I know, and I bet sometimes it can get overwhelming for him. And I hope that he knows that even though I'm not going to be there next year because I'll be in high school, I
Hmm.
hope he knows that he's still able to talk to me about these things because I'm going to know a lot of this stuff and I'll know exactly what's going on, even though maybe he may not be able to talk, like be able to ask me about this stuff. I know that if he ever, like if he ever needs just somebody to just explain it, I know I'll be there to help him. And that's not just for school. Like one day, if he ever needs me, I'll just be there for him because I know that he's, he does an amazing job. He's an amazing kid, and I know that like there, I would do anything to make sure that he's okay.
Oh, he's so blessed to have you as his big sister paving the way for him. I'm sure you already do this, but make sure you tell him all the time, like, you can ask me anything. I'm always here for you, buddy. Like anytime you want to talk to me about anything at all, you come and tell me, and
Like
he'll
anytime,
get it.
like first day of school, I was like, if any of the kids mess with you, you tell me immediately, and I'll take care of it. Don't worry. You just let me know. You don't have to let a teacher know. You tell me. You can tell a teacher if you'd like, but you can tell me too, and I'll
Sounds
take care
like
of it.
he's confident enough if anybody messes with you, he'll come after them too.
And there's been a couple of times like so we have a breakfast line at school, and so he accidentally like kind of cut a kid, and I just saw these two kids like looking at each other, and I was like, oh no 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 no. I gave him a hug, and I was like, hi buddy, and I looked up at them, and I was like, back off,
Oh my gosh, that's
be
funny.
nice. Like, oh, I'll see you at home. I love you.
Hmm. Oh my gosh, you guys are the cutest.
Mhm.
Well, I guess in wrapping up, Natalie, is there one thing? I mean, you've already mentioned that, Quinn is really smart and that there are so many things about him that you just love. Is there anything you would want people to know? I mean, I know your brother is a unique individual and it's one experience, but that you would want people to understand about people on the spectrum. They're underestimated so much. So if there's one thing that maybe you thought about autism that has changed your mind completely by being around Quinn, what would that be?
Well, you have to have patience, and not one person on the spectrum is ever the same.
Hmm.
Every single person that is special needs or has like something like that, everybody is different. There is even, and I was like explaining this to my mom last night, and I said, Mom, I feel like with Quinn, even if there was a, if Quinn had a twin brother, which he's perfect just on his own.
You're like, thank God for that.
Thank the Lord, we don't have a sibling. But if he did, and that sibling did have like special needs like him, that sibling would not have the same experience. Like he would
Hmm.
the same like it would not be the same as Quinn. And maybe like they would look the same, but they wouldn't act the same
Hmm.
for sure. Like there's different like every like there's not gonna be an identical like spectrum like person on the spectrum.
Hmm.
And and it took me a while to, like, learn this because at first I thought, "Oh, everyone is, like, the same." But then I, like, through, like, meeting, like, other people like Quinn, I've been able to, like, understand that we're all different. And
Hmm.
that doesn't just go for somebody on the spectrum, that goes for everybody, and I feel like people can take that for granted, but really, everybody's different, and whenever I think of, like, just all that, it just, it just yeah, it just makes me happy to know that Quinn is unique and he's happy the way he is, and,
Hmm.
you know, like I said, he's very confident, and I know that if he had a twin brother, that twin brother might not be probably wouldn't be as confident as him because
Hmm.
Quinn I really don't even know, like, what to say because he's just
Yeah.
so unique and so special and amazing, and I love him so much.
Oh, I love that you love him so much and that just you talking about him, it's people can't see you because they're listening, but just your face lights up. You just smile every time you mention him, and um it just makes me so proud as a mom in general, just to see how much closeness and love and support that you two have for each other. And I hope that people listening, that their kids have similar bonds. I wish I could talk to every sibling across the country, but unfortunately I can't. But I would imagine a lot of the stories are very similar. I would hope that they are. And I think it's siblings like you who go out into the world at your age now and as an adult and change the world, and encourage people to include kids like Quinn, and to make sure that people aren't judged just because they're wearing headphones or something, that that there's so much more to a person than the outward appearance or their behaviors or whatever it is that's going on. So I just I hope, I have big plans and big hopes for the future for all of the siblings who help educate the rest of the world about how amazing and special our autistic loved ones are. Well, thank you so very much for taking the time out of your busy school and rehearsal schedule to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you ever want to be back on and share an update when you're in high school, be my guest. I would love it.
I would definitely love that, and I wanna say thank you for, inviting me to come on today, and I hope that this can help people or, like, just kinda learn more about my life as a sibling,
Yeah.
as a special needs person.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thanks, Natalie. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.